Welcome to Forged in Silence podcast, talking about issues men face but rarely talk about. Here we go again. I butchered it slightly. Addressing issues men face but rarely talk about. Now, look at this. Eventually, I'll be on fire. Episode 42. Just wait for it.
Well, if you don't butcher it, you're not a man.
Okay, well, there's that. So we're on fire either way. On fire either way. How are you doing today, Robbie? We'll get to Hunter soon here.
I am doing pretty good. Still busy as all ever, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna
and
take it.
you've got a decision you need to make now.
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
little kind of quasi job offer on the table.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I gotta do some deep thinking and talk with my daughter about it. That's what's most important right now.
Right on. Yeah, I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you even have a chance to an opportunity to think about and potentially take. So good for you.
Thank you.
I have a little bit of news too myself.
Let's hear it.
I have an interview tomorrow morning for full-time position
Awesome.
and then part-time while I'm in school. So back at potentially looking at not having two part-time jobs and all the rest of the fun stuff. So it'll be interesting. Looking forward to it tomorrow, 10 o'clock.
Good luck. I'll be rooting for you.
All right. So let's get into this. Our guest today is Hunter, the youngest guest so far. He reached out to us on Instagram after watching a couple episodes and wanted to come on here and tell us a little bit about himself and some of his story. He wanted to talk about pressure on kids and pressure on athletes. He's a college athlete, been through some surgeries, had some mental health issues that he's going to talk to us about and share. I love this perspective. Robbie and I are in our 40s, so to have somebody in their 20s on here and to be able to relate to your generation, I think is pretty awesome. First, I want to commend you for reaching out, Hunter, and wanting to talk. And now I'm going to hand it over to you. I'm done trying to explain who you are. It's your job. You're way more of an expert than I am.
Well, thank you guys for having me on this podcast, first of all. I just want to say thank you guys for this opportunity. But yeah, baseball player, college with the Redwoods, went through 2 Tommy John surgeries. The first one was just mentally draining, very mentally draining. I was going through a lot of with school and grades, and then ended up tearing my UCL in the middle of a summer season, which put my summer and this year, which it just ended, to an end, for which was very unfortunate because I was very looking forward to play, as every kid would be wanting to. But then, yeah, that's pretty much me.
So are you still in college and on a
I am.
scholarship?
Yep. So I go to college of the Redwoods right now. Then finishing up my sophomore season this year will be my sophomore season because I medical redded last year.
So the Tommy John surgery, the one that caused the most problems.
Yeah. That was I was actually back at home when this all happened, and I snapped my UCL, and I made a few jokes to the umpire because I really didn't think I actually did it. And then the next throw, it was just didn't even make it to third base, and that's when I knew it, I actually did it, and I got pulled out of the game. Went home and I got surgery a week later. They got me in really quick, and ended up having to go through another surgery I believe a month or two later, had to go through another surgery because too much scar tissue was built up. And then had a conversation with my physical therapy guy down at ISMI, and they were like, you need to start thinking about another opportunity. And that's when that all hit me, and I didn't know what to do with my life right then and there. I got really upset, really in my head about it, and then ended up almost deciding to take my own life over that part, because I've been playing this game ever since I was 2. And I feel like since I've grown up doing it, I have that big old passion of, hey, I want to get to this place. I want to do whatever it takes. And I put everything on the line mentally, physically, and emotionally. When growing up, I didn't think this is how it would go.
So you're in the hospital. They tell you can't, but it might be a good idea to pursue something different in your life. And that's something you were not mentally prepared for whatsoever. And so tell me about that spiral.
So it started off like, because I'm a jokeable guy. I joke around in bad situations, which isn't really healthy. And when they told me that, I like smiled and I smirked a little bit, because this was down when I was at physical therapy. And because my doctor comes in, he'll check on me. And he was like, "So this is where we're at." And I was like, thought he was joking, laughed it off. But then he was like, "No, I'm being serious. Like, because then we started talking about criminal investigation, because that's what my degree is." And he was like, we don't know if you're 100% going to be able to come back from this." And that shocked my world. I felt like everything in the palms of my hand just disappeared. Like all that hard work from when I was a young kid to up to now is just all gone. There's no reason for it. And it's weird how everything can flicker in the flash of your eyes. So after that, after all of that happened, I went home and I told my mom about it a little bit. Like I didn't tell her, "Hey, this is like actually gonna like stop me from playing baseball." I was like, "Yeah, we just had a deep conversation today. I don't open up. I'm not a dude that would really open up to my family at all about these type of situations." And then, which my mom, she's a flight attendant. She goes around, flies across country. And she even told me like a few weeks ago, actually, she didn't think like she was scared to come home and find me in my room just dead. And that shocked my heart when she said that, because of how mentally draining that all was for me. I wouldn't do anything. As soon as I heard that news, I stopped doing all activities.
So did you just isolate yourself in your room?
Yep.
Stop talking to everyone?
Yep. I stopped talking to everyone. I just sit in my room. I try to sleep all day. And then I would just start playing video games, and I wouldn't care about, like, I would have some assignments to do, um, especially because when August started kicking back up and I was like, I'm still not able to go back down to my college. I was like, I'm just not going to do anything. I didn't do as much schoolwork as I should have. And I really do regret that. I would just sit in my room and do nothing, which sucked. And I feel like it's those tunnels that you don't see the light at the end. And that's what really gets to people, in my opinion. That's what really gets to people. And my dad's talked to me about that part. My mom has told me that growing up, there's always that one tunnel, but if there's no light at the end, you have to find light. And I didn't see a light for a year, and I just kept digging through after some very like emotional standoffs with myself and with other things that were going around at the time. Because at the time, my grandma was also passing away, which was that was a really hard one. She was my great grandma, but she would always come around. She was from Pocatello. I'd go and get her whenever I could. And when then she passed away and I had to get surgery, it's just my whole emotions were just wrecked.
It sounds to me that, playing the sport since the age of 2, you have this injury, it gets taken away from you. You identified as a baseball player with a scholarship. Then this was all taken away from you. How did you get to this spot where all you could do for yourself is identify as a baseball player with a scholarship?
How did I get to the spot? I pretty much just felt like grinding it out. I mean, ever since I was younger, it all started off in the backyard when I would just be back there swinging a stick around, pretending I'm Babe Ruth or somebody. And then growing up, that's like my dad, he got a radar gun when I was 5 years old, and he'd always just clock me in the backyard whenever he could. People would just pretty much tell me, okay, you can be somebody, but you have to stay on the right path. And that's where that also lies into play. If you stay on the right path, like people think the right path is just going to be straight, but there's so many ups and downs and rocky hills that not only kids don't understand, but some like adults don't even understand that either. And
Hey, man, it took me until I was 39 to figure that one out.
I'm still figuring that one out, so.
Now I just understand there's a hill, and then you get to it and you're like, crap, it's a mountain. That's fine.
Yep. It's a huge mountain, and you're like, oh man, how am I gonna get over this one? But then that's one thing like I was growing up hearing is life is full of challenges. But when I heard life is full of challenges, I didn't really think, okay, it's going to really be mentally challenging. I just thought it would be like a little hill I can just roll over or something.
Physical challenge.
But yeah, playing sports ever since I was a kid, I knew I could take this somewhere, and I still believe it now. I can go somewhere far with this, and as long as I keep pursuing and doing the best I can, putting in the hard work every day, I believe I can get to those goals.
Who after the surgery, this first one and the injury, you went down that spiral, and who or what was the biggest letdown? Was it, let down to yourself or let down to your family? Where did all those emotions come from?
I felt like I'd let down my family the most because my mom and my dad, we would always talk about, okay, I can get there. Well, my parents, my mom has helped me, my dad has really helped me too. And like going to all, just remembering all those out of tournament things when I'm laying down in this bed in a sling, because we would go out to Florida, we'd go to Arizona, and just having all of that in the back of your head, like you did all this for a reason, and this is where you're at right now. That was probably my biggest letdown. Like I'm letting down my family right now.
So that, you felt like you let down your family. Where were you at with yourself in that letdown?
I was just like, I'm sorry, could you ask that one more time?
I guess in the end, you felt like you let down your family, but where were you at? Where were your feelings at for yourself? Did you feel like a failure? Did you feel like you caused this injury? What was the story running through your head that you couldn't get rid of?
I felt like I wasn't enough. I felt like everything that I did at this time is not enough for anyone. I can't, like, I was just laying down there effortlessly and I felt like I had nothing to do. Like, people would try to cheer me up, but it just, nothing would do it. And I just feel like I failed myself. I failed my family. I'm just, at this point, just shouldn't even be here.
I think it was Robbie. I think it was Julie who told me this quote, and I don't know who it's by, but depression is sadness without hope. And when I hear about Hunter, when I hear you talk about what that was like for you in the year hanging out in your bedroom, just trying to find that light, which is the hope. The toughest part is to try and find it yourself. And that's where it has to come from. And so you had that dark time, but you also, there's a lot of other things too that go into this. So the pressure, talk about the mental aspect in sports.
Like,
Because
the mental
yeah,
aspect is like, if you, so like you can go, it's just all about failure, especially like baseball. Every game is all about failure. The more you fail, it's just going to mentally drive you. You have fans in the stands that chirp at you the whole time. And I get it. Like, that's part of the game. That's why we love the game. But there's been a few professional baseball players that came out in the past 2 weeks talking about how he got texts like threatening their family and texting, I'm going to come and kill you, or you need to kill yourself, and all of that stuff. And that mentally drains them and mentally drains the family for sure, because they're like, I don't want anything bad happening to them. Um, Coming from the sports, it's like you can feel like you do right, but other people can view you completely different. Like if you hit a hard shot right up the middle, but some guy makes a good play, and you're gonna feel like you suck. And that's how it's gonna be. But you don't, because you just hit a good shot, he made a good play. But you're just gonna feel bad on the inside. And all the other people are gonna view you like, oh, this guy's not good at all. And then that's gonna bring your mental down big time.
so you got this game where, even clapping the ball out, still, it doesn't guarantee success. Success isn't guaranteed. Right? There's so many different things at play. When you were in that dark space, you talked to me when we were talking on the phone. You talked to me about a Red Sox player. Did that Red Sox player reach out to you, or did they just go public?
So this was over public. So I was actually, when I was laying down in my bed, just thinking, and I was like, I just need to watch something. I need to clear my head on something. Well, there was a documentary that came out about Jaron Duran, about how he was going through a mental phase with the sport and how he couldn't find success, and he felt like he let down everyone. And when he got up to the major leagues, they were all overhyping him, like, this guy's not going to be good. And he really believed that he wasn't going to be good because of everybody saying that. Well, he went on and made this thing, and this really helped me and guided me after one of the attempts that I had. After I found like myself laying in this bed, just like I need to just turn something on, clear my head. And he went in to talk about how he was laying. I can't remember. I remember the quote specifically about what he was gonna do, and he was talking about how big of a failure he was. And it got to the point where he laid down, where he was sitting upstairs with his rifle in his hand, and he pulled the trigger, and he had a bullet in there, and the gun didn't go off. So he took that as a way, as of God saying, "Okay, I'm gonna help you through this, whatever you're gonna get through." And then now he's one of the best baseball players in Major League right now, and that really impacted me, especially because a few days before that, I tried to take my own life. And then I saw that video and I was like, well, if he can get through it, that's going to inspire me to get through it. And he went about publicly about this on Netflix.
So you found hope
Uh-huh.
in hearing someone else's experience that was
Correct.
similar enough to yours, where it gave you the energy to pick yourself up.
Correct. Because if it wasn't for that, I do not know where I would be today, to be completely honest. If it was not for him coming out and speaking publicly, I don't know where I'd be at. And I'm guaranteeing that helped out hundreds of kids also on top of it.
I'm looking at you, Robbie, like you almost got a question.
I'm just thinking, you know, as an athlete myself, it's a little different. Mine is more of a hobby type of thing, but there's still a lot of influence and stuff in there. To me, it sounds like, you know, you're trying to create, this is a career, your identity. You've worked really hard to get to where you're at now. Something happened, it got taken away from you. You're willing to keep going back at it and keep fighting, even with, you know, a couple stumbles up this hill. What keeps driving you to be this athlete when, you know, something could happen tomorrow or next day or whatever that takes it away again? Where are you at to be able to say, I'm strong enough to just keep going up this hill?
I guess that would just fall within the younger me. When I was younger, I'd get bullied in school a lot and get told I'd be nothing. And there's a thing of me wanting to prove people wrong. That's what really strives me, is to wanting to prove every person in school that messed with me or that had doubt in me, including like some parents too, like that doubted me, said I was too bad, like worthless. Like that's where the strive comes from when I was a kid. And I've had that strive and I lost it a little bit, but then I got it back and we're here striving for every moment. And I've gone through this surgery once, and then when it hit me again, I was like, I can get through this. I've done it once. What's going to stop it again?
So really, you know, there's a lot of, I don't know your upbringing, but there sounds like of, you know, the bullying, then some self-worth stuff and trying to prove that you're worthy of who you are and you deserve to be here and you deserve to be in this place and you're willing to do whatever it takes to be there. How does that's a lot, you know, to unpack and really to just like deal with that on a daily basis. Cause I mean, you have your school part, then your your training, practice and all that, then your games. Like how do you keep the motivation of all this together just to keep moving forward and keep your self-worth where it's balanced to actually keep moving forward?
I guess I would just have my coach as one of my role models. I mean, he was probably one of my best friends at college, and we talked a lot about from a mental aspect. And we'd have deep talks where it would be either a 20-minute talk or I'd have a talk with him for 2 hours. And we would just be on this mental aspect of the grind. And because the grind's not bright. I mean, it could be, it depends on how you're doing it, but it's not always sunshines and rainbows. And that's one thing, like when we were talking, that's kind of something he told me. And he was like, you just got to keep it up. You can't let anything slow you down, because the moment you slow down is the moment another person has the potential to come and take your spot. And I took that and I said, okay, so what I have to do is get good grades. I have to try to keep my head at a mental like capacity of, okay, if this happens, just try your best to get rid of it, flush it. That's what another saying that we had in college was, you just have to flush it. Use your head as like a toilet. Every bad thought you have, just flush it down and it's gone. And that also helped me out a lot.
Do the colleges anyways, because I'm guessing probably not so much before that, do the colleges give the students any sort of mental health support, like the student athletes
Yes.
give them
So
any sort of like mental health support? Let's drop that question, see where it goes.
yeah, so like we have counselors, we have each other that support each other too. But one thing for like me perspectively is like I grew up with counselors. I'm not a big fan of counselors, but I have a lot of faith in my coaches that will help me. And I use them as counselors or as like a parent. And even though they're the ones that ride me all the time to make me be better, they're always there for other issues too. And I feel like one of my buddies, they use a counselor at the college and they love him. And that he's like, yeah, dude, you gotta go try him. And I'm like, I got coach, whatever. But he talks to him all the time about his mental health, his aspect of the game. And those two will talk for hours upon hours. So we have mental health like support, yes. But could there be more? It always could be more. It always could be. But
I mean, you can always do better no matter where you look,
Mhm.
no matter how you whatever. Perfection is an impossible thing to achieve, but you can still. I was just curious when it comes down to that. When you are working your way up to getting a scholarship and you're good enough, and then I don't know, you must have scouts and things like that kind of looking you up from the schools, and you're applying and you have choices that you need to make. And I mean, I can imagine that you have the places that where you want to go, and your parents want you to go somewhere else because they have a good name or it's closer to home or whatever that may be. What is it like? How did you make that choice? Did you have options, or
had options, and so I actually transferred from a school in Kansas to College of the Redwoods. I hit the transfer portal after 6 months. I had another option to play locally, and my mom, my dad, they kind of like, my mom tried to push it a little bit, and I was like, I'm not gonna do that because they're like, you could get more offers, but this is also closer to home, you know? And I was like, yeah, I want to see if I can get more offers. And then, but a lot of parents, like one of my buddies, he felt forced to go to a school. And when he went there, it was a hellhole for him. And he hated every minute there and he just didn't like it. He ended up hitting the transfer portal and then stopped playing baseball. And that's one thing like I have is like the parents shouldn't be pushing their kids that hard to make a choice on what school they go to. Like I get it, you want them to stay local, you want them to stay around, but at the end of the day, were you the one that earned the scholarship or was it your kid? Who gets to make that choice? I mean, I believe it the kid has like all the if he puts in the talent, the effort, all of that, he should make the choice. Like, yeah, parents, you can guide your kids to try to make them like come home and stay closer locally, but also it's a whole new world out there. Once you hit 18 and you go like say so like for me, I went to Kansas. I got to explore a whole new state, and that was really cool. I really loved it. And then I got to go to California, and I'm still there, and I love it there. But one thing the parents shouldn't do is just push their kids to an immediate decision like that. Have them take their time. Have them study the school, not oh you have an offer. Let's sign away right now.
The pressure that you put on yourself to get the scholarship and do all that. How is that pressure, say from a lot of the athletes I talk with? Some of them just end up quit the sport. Some during high school, and a lot of them right after college because of the pressure of participating in the sport for so long. How do you feel that pressure is? The transferring from high school to college. You're in college right now. How is that affecting you?
So the pressure, like it is a bigger light. It's way bigger. You go from having probably 50 fans to a couple hundred fans. There's a lot more on the table. Definitely bigger lights. It's fun until you start messing up and you fall into a slump because then you feel like the whole world's against you. But for high schoolers that are going up into college, it's like you will be nervous. That's normal. Being nervous is normal, but being too hard on yourself, that's one thing you're going to really fall into. Is if you be hard on yourself and you keep applying all that pressure, you won't be successful because you have that bad thought in the back of your head of, I need to keep going. Like, what I'm trying to say is, like, you keep going, but you're going to always have that little thought in the back of your head of not being successful. And then you're going to fall right under that little thing when you're not trying to. And you won't even know it. It'll hit you in just a second.
What about the pressures from coaching from high school to college? How does that affect you?
So I actually got lucky to be able to coach a high school team after my surgery this year. And I feel like from a coaching's aspect, it's a lot challenging because you have the parents that are angry at you if their sons don't get to play. It's just that pressure is a whole new pressure because it's like you want everyone to be happy, but you also want your team to be successful and win. But if I'm a player and I'm thinking about from a coach's perspective, the college level, they're going to want more from you. And you already know that going in there because they're going to tell you on that first meeting after you sign, hey, we need this from you. We want you to gain like 20 pounds. You need to be more muscle. And they're going to help you out there. And they're going to send you a whole lift workout. Like my coach just sent me our lift workout for the summer, and I'm about to go get ready to crush that. So, but it's all about, like, it just is mental game. Like everywhere you go, it's just a mental game. From the coaches, from the family, I mean, from parents' aspects too, it has to be mentally draining too for them.
Yeah, I think, some parents want the best for their kids, and as we're all humans, they may not put that the right way. And other parents just want their kids to succeed. But it's very interesting that once you get up to that college level, and I'm sure you're trying to work, into the minors and then up to the big leagues, there's a lot of money involved in that. Not so much in the minors, but I'm sure, in the majors, there's a lot of money in there. Do you feel with what your parents have done for you in your baseball career leading up to now that you owe them something because of what they've done for you?
So I had this conversation with my buddy one night. And one of the things that we were talking about is they've helped us grow up this whole time. So I feel like mentally, yes, I owe them something. Like I want to give my family a new car or a new house. And when I get up to that level, I want to give them everything they can have. And we talked about that. And that was one of the toughest questions to possibly answer because it's like your parents do so much for you, even though like if they move out of state if they move out of state, but they're still involved and they still keep in touch with you, or, just like, yeah, I feel like I owe them something, but at the same time, it's like they don't want us to push ourselves that hard to ruin our mental health. Because that's part of the strive. Like, you want to go and give your family whatever, but there's consequences that come with that and bigger mountains to climb.
It's all just one giant head game.
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember when I was like 20 and I didn't understand the head game at all. I was still full of piss and vinegar, just about to graduate college and go straight into the working environment, and just I don't remember that much of the head game, but I can imagine being 20 and having that much pressure, because the pressure that you have and that you're under and the level of work that you have to put in was nothing that I was putting in. Not at that age. I am now, probably, even still not to the level you are. But I've got a question for you, and it has to do with you have this life commitment to yourself that's been taken away once already, or at least perceived that it was going to be taken away. Your dream, and I was going to ask you that. What are your future goals?
My future goals is one, be successful in what you do. It doesn't matter if that's a working environment, because my cousin, he's been working a job and now he's going to transfer to go try to be a prison guard, and he's going to find really good success with that. So one thing, like, I look up to him because me and him, we pretty much grew up in the same household, and it's just finding success in no matter what you do. That's if you're doing the prison job or in your schoolwork or just in the weight room. Because that's where the time really matters, is when you're by yourself. That's when all that hard work gets in play, and that's when that starts showing. because your hard work will show on the field if you put it all in after hours.
It's not what happens on the field, but what happens before and after and around. So for you, your goal.
My goal is going to be number one. The biggest goal, of course, for any kid is making it to the big league level.
Mm-hmm.
Right under that, it's like, okay, for this season, for an example, I want to finish batting 375 and I want at least to hit a college home run because I've struggled with that with no pop. And my team knows that. You have no pop, blah, 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 blah. And they always ride me about it. And that's one of the fun things that I love about them is they'll ride it until it's successful. And that's just the team energy and the team effort that you guys communicate and build that bond with. Another goal of mine is like, if it's off the field goals, I want to get a degree at the end of the day. I want to get a degree and I want to go into something I enjoy. But then if it is something I would enjoy would be firefighting or becoming a cop like that. And as long as I be successful in that, I'm okay with that. But with baseball, I want to be a big leaguer. I want to do whatever it takes. I don't care what I have to do or put my body through it because I've already done it twice now.
Right.
Sorry, 3 times. I had the Tommy John, then I had that, had to go in there and get all that scar tissue out. And then I had another UCL repair right after that, which that was recent, like a month ago.
And then you overcame trying to take your life.
I know the first one. Wait, overcame?
Right.
Yes.
But
Sorry, yes.
You talk about the surgeries, but overcoming
Yep. I
the
overcame it.
desire to remove yourself from this place is probably something you're going to carry with you for a pretty long time.
Yes.
It's
And
coming from my own experience. I don't think you ever forget the darkness, but it's also motivation. It's a place that, for me, and you can tell me if it's anything like, it's a place I don't ever want to have to go again.
I agree.
And so I put effort to make sure that that's not a place I go again. So now that we know what your dreams are, and I think you've answered the other question, because I was going to ask you, what if your dream gets taken away from you again? And it's possible that it happens, and it's possible that you make it and you start living that part of that dream. But if it gets taken away from you again, how do you think you're going to handle it this time?
So for me, I've been trying to think about that too, a little bit at a time, because it's like, that's a big step. When I heard it the first time, I just spiraled down. But I feel like if it happens again, I'm just gonna I don't want to fall down that spiral. So I'll probably try to put in all the effort, everything I can into making a comeback like I did that first time. And if I come back, great. But if I don't, then I'm guessing I'm gonna have to put that degree to work and see how I am mentally overall. I mean, I'll probably still be able to stay in touch with all the coaching staff and they can help me and guide me into a proper direction. But that would be a huge, like, I don't know. It definitely hit me hard again, but I don't think it'd be to the point where I was when I was about to take my life.
Yeah, the reason why I asked the question is, I guess the possibility still exists regardless. And so you've been there, you've done that, and when it comes to me, I have an alcohol addiction background. Like, when something happens, what do I have in place to, what kind of mechanisms, what kind of skills have I developed over time? What kind of people have I met? And you talked about support systems, coaches, and stuff like that, that I can turn around and lean on this time that I never leaned on before.
Correct.
Right. And I have to make sure that I always maintain my willingness to use my resources. And that's what it comes down to for me, is the resources are always, I'm always open to new ones. I'm always open to listening to what other people have to say. You've got some awesome inspiration that has helped you along. So with everything you've been through, I think it's pretty incredible where you're at right now. Just listening to the energy that you have, the hope you have, again, the drive you have. I think it comes from a pretty unique place and perspective. I'm proud of you, dude.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. Really does.
It's good to have you here, and it's good to have a voice to these things, and it's good to share that kind of inspiration. I think it's okay that we go to those places. And I'm going to steal another quote from Julie because she said this to me. You're allowed to be there. You just can't stay there for too long.
That's a good one. That's a real good one. That hits hard. That hits hard.
It was those words that allowed me to pull myself out of one of my holes, because I had a really, really, really hard time picking up the phone that day. And I was like, I am not good. Okay. And she said, yeah, you're allowed to be there. You just can't stay there for too long. It made it all right. It didn't mean I had to change it today. It meant it was okay to feel the way I felt. It also meant that I needed to do something different. And that was enough that day. Be like, okay, shit, it's time. So, right on. Yep. Friend of mine is watching this podcast right now. And I don't know if you could see that, Hunter, but he just said, thanks for sharing your experience and hope all goes well for you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, not a problem. I'm glad to be here. Thank you guys for this opportunity.
Robbie, do you got anything else?
I am good. This was a good chat.
Yeah, it was.
It's always,
go ahead.
Why we've been talking here. Steve and I are in our 40s, and it took us a while to get to where we are. A long while. And you're so young, and listening to you talk, and you've got some shit figured out already. That's inspiring for me. And I'm sure it's inspiring for Steve, because we both wouldn't change where we came from. We wouldn't, that's who we are today. But if we knew what you knew at that age, stuff would be different for us. And not saying it's, it's just what it is, but I find the inspiration that you're willing to speak about it, talk about it, the tough time, but also share this experience. And I hope, there's some other people out there, 20s, 30s, even 40s, 50s, 60s, doesn't matter the age, but, younger and struggling with who they identify with, what their goals and their dreams are. And just life itself can be so hard, and stuff gets taken away from us. But to learn how to get through that is something amazing, really inspiring.
Yeah, it's like, if I'm just passing a favor, it feels like, Jaron Duran came up and talked about his situation, and it made me want to strive to talk about my situation, because I just want to help others out, get through whatever they're going through.
And it's the shared story, and it's the shared experience that's why Robbie and I are here, is the shared story and the shared experience. And to both of us, and I know to a lot of other people, the inspiration comes from knowing somebody else has done it too. Like I am not near as alone as I believe I am. I am not near as special as I think I am. And somebody else is out there going through the same thing that you are, and there's somebody else out there that's overcome it. It's just a matter of finding and reaching out and looking for it. It exists. It exists everywhere. And so I'll end it with this. We talked about depression, and it's a version of suffering in silence. And I know there's a lot of men out there. In June. It's Men's Mental Health Month. It's time to reach out. It's always time to reach out, for crying out loud. We don't have to go and do this alone. Hunter, you're an excellent example of that, because you didn't do it alone. You weren't by yourself in coming out of what you come out of. It takes people, it takes connection, and it comes from sometimes the strangest, most weirdest places, and from the people that you don't expect. Life is hard. It just is. But you don't have to do it alone. So you're welcome to reach out to myself, Hunter Cliff 81 on Instagram. If you connected with his story, reach out to him. Robbie and I, absolutely. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for being here. Hunter, thank you for showing up vulnerably and sharing parts of your story, parts of your life with us. I certainly wish you all the best. Get out there, kick ass, do the best you can with the life that you've got, dude. Get out there. I hope one day I see you out in the big leagues, dude.
Thank you. It means a lot. Thank you guys so much for having me. It's been a pleasure to be here with you guys and to have this nice conversation and to have me be able to express everything on there. So thank you guys again.